Calgary. So the bar is set high. Let's find out. Meet Pembina's Ed Whittingham. Ed.
Wow. I look out on the sea of white hats. And who would have thought the Pembina founders, 28 years ago, they would never have thought that Pembina could have convened this kind of A-list crowd in downtown Toronto and get you to put on white hats, no less, to make us all feel at home. But I'm about to take off my white hat for a moment. And as I do so, I feel like I'm asking you all for your daughter's hand in marriage. Slick back my hair here. Listen, this is terrific. I'm blown away by those videos, Lori. Thank you so much. Evan, thank you for that wonderful introduction. You know, as someone who is originally from Ontario, in spite of the hat, I'm not originally from Alberta. I grew up in Newmarket, north of here. Though my family and I have chosen Alberta to live, where I base my work, but I still, as you can imagine, as executive director of Pembina, I do a lot of shuttling between Calgary and Toronto. And I must admit, lately I've been a little disoriented. You know, you've got Naheed Nenshi as mayor in Calgary, and well, you've got Rob Ford as mayor of Toronto. I can't tell my left from my right anymore. It's just so confusing. David Miller, if you're back here, I mean, I just have my compass set again. Yeah, but just to let you know that liberal bastion that is Calgary is still accepting political refugees, boat refugees, coming up the Bow River, if need be, from Toronto. There's still spaces for you. But I gather some changes are afoot, so all that might change. But hey, you know, the white hat in Alberta, it's given as a symbol to people of VIPs of prominence, and all of you have decided to spend time with us tonight, and for that, my colleagues and I are extremely grateful. At Pembina, we're trying to lead Canada's transition to a clean energy future. That's what we're in it for. And it's no small task, and we've got to approach it from a few angles. You know, we've got to drive down energy demand through efficiency and conservation. We have to promote pragmatic policy approaches to tackling that huge issue of dangerous climate change through such things as increasing renewables on our grid, and Ontario is a shining example of how to do that. Not without contention. Not without contention, admittedly. But hey, this is something that we have to grapple with if we are to try to get a handle on this problem. And at Pembina, we also recognize that the transition to clean energy, it's going to include fossil fuels for some time. And so as part of that, we advocate for responsible development of Canada's fossil fuel resources, whether they be oil sands or shale gas. And we do this through advocating for clean energy through research, advocacy, and consulting. And the fact that we're both advocates for clean energy and consultants to industry, including big oil, means that on a good day, I'm called both a wingnut tree hugger and a corporate sellout. Last year, I was called an eco-radical funded by U.S. billionaire socialists. That was a new one. That was a new one. And U.S. billionaire socialists, it kind of sounds oxymoronic to me. I mean, billionaire socialist? Having said that, if there are any U.S. billionaire socialists in the crowd tonight, don't hesitate to present yourself to the front immediately following this short address with checkbook in hand. Hey, you know, Pembina, we're known for our rigorous technical analysis, and to borrow the great Mark Rudolph's words, our ability to convene counterintuitive strange bedfellows as a way of advancing clean energy policy. And what sets us apart from other groups is that we employ a schwackload of engineers. You know, we're a geeky organization. Most NGOs and think tanks, they've got lawyers, we've got a bunch of engineers. Which begs the question, how many engineers does it take, Pembina engineers, to screw in a light bulb? How many? Well, you need two. You need one to come up with a geothermal-powered light bulb that never needs changing, and you need another to write the Excel program to control the light switch. But as our consulting group will tell you, we don't actually install the damn things. We leave that up to the corporate engineers at Big Lights, and they can take care of it. Oh, and engineers in their Excel. Who's an engineer out there? Any engineers? Yeah, you like your Excel program? I get my engineers writing me memos in Excel. I think they go home to their boyfriends and their girlfriends and they write love letters in Excel. It's a strange breed, but hey, we need them. We need them. You know, it's true, we're called a lot of things. On the good side, we're called science-based, fact-based. We're called truth tellers. But most days in my travels as Pembina's executive director, the number one word I hear is pragmatic. Pragmatic. And it's not the sexiest of words, I admit that. I mean, when was the last time you heard someone say, "Hey, Bob, how's your marriage?" "Hey, Susie, pragmatic." "Oh, yeah, really pragmatic." I mean, you know, it's just not sexy, but it's a word that we value. And frankly, a reputation we fight to maintain. And following the pragmatism of the Pembina Institute, we've worked alongside government and industry for 28 years. For 28 years. And by alongside, I mean sometimes hand in hand, and sometimes in opposition to government and industry. And you know, I like to believe that the enlightened actors out there, and I would say anyone wearing a white hat tonight is an enlightened actor. White hat, enlightened actor, you're probably not going to hear that in the same sentence anytime soon. But I think that those enlightened actors, they get it. Our dual role of both advocate and helper. Loyal opposition and solution provider. And you know, I think our relationship with Shell is a really good example of that. And I think just last year, in 2012 alone, Pembina and Shell, we did a lot of work together. We worked to promote renewable energy policy in Alberta. We worked to drive down, and I see Diane Zimmerman, yay, and we're getting there. Even in Alberta, I think we can get them to understand. We worked to drive down greenhouse gas emissions federally through good policies. We worked to drive down emissions from transportation through altering driver behavior. And of course, Shell is generously a co-sponsor of tonight. But at the same time, and Ashley alluded to this, we can agree to disagree. And last year, and you would have heard it probably in the news in late December, we agreed to disagree on the environmental impacts of Shell's Jack Pine oil sands mine expansion. And Pembina was very loud and very clear, publicly in media and at the regulatory hearing, saying that, frankly, we don't think this project should go ahead. But when you deal with a mature actor and you can have an adult-like conversation, you can compartmentalize a disagreement over here and say, we agree to disagree, without having to jeopardize all the good work that you're doing over here. And I think we need more of that in the energy debate right now. We need more of that. And you know, working together means recognizing when another party has done the right thing. And frankly, Shell, late December, decided that it wasn't going to pursue its coal bed methane tenures in the Clapan region of BC. And if you haven't been there, it's beautiful. It's called the Sacred Headwaters. Yeah, give them a round of applause for that. They had 3,200 square kilometers of tenure there, and they walked away from it and said, we're not going to develop there. The Sacred Headwaters is called the Sacred Headwaters for a reason. It's a source for major rivers in BC, like the Stikine. It's sacred space for the Tahltan people. And you know what? With Shell doing that, the BC government followed suit as well. So I don't want that to go unrecognized tonight. So Ashley, who gave this great address. And where's Ashley? Oh, there. Thank you, Ashley. Here's what I want to give you after this. This is a T-shirt. Before it used to say, get the Shell out of our sacred headwaters. And in recognition of what Shell did, it now says, got the Shell out of our sacred headwaters. And Ashley, I want to give this to you so at HQ in Calgary, you can walk around and say, we committed to not drilling for coal bed methane in sacred headwaters, and all we got was this lousy frickin' T-shirt. All right. You know, thank you, Evan. You've covered some of the important work that we've done in Ontario. In fact, many of our speakers did. So I don't want to belabor that point. And I recognize I'm the guy standing between you and your nice prime rib dinner. You can look on your cards on your table, your program cards. You've got examples of how Pembina has made an impact in the past recent years. On each of these cards, you got 3 examples. So if you're at your tables, you know, if you're 8, 16, you can do the math. You've got multiple examples. Have a look. Trade them. Play general manager. You never know when the Leafs might be looking for a new general manager, so you may as well warm up tonight. But I do want to highlight a couple recent projects that we think is important and is about where the puck is going to in the future rather than where the puck is. And one is a report that we've called Competing in Clean Energy, Capitalizing on Canadian Innovation in a $3 trillion Economy. And on your programs, there's a QR code. And if you're more technologically savvy than I am, you can scan it, and it's going to bring up our report. Someone afterward can show me how to actually do that. And listen, we did this in the context, we know in recent years there's been much talk about Canada being an energy superpower. And moreover, and our own Prime Minister said at times, a clean energy superpower. This is right now, folks, a $1 trillion economy. And we know that with now meteorologists in Australia having to come up with new colors to measure temperatures because of the record heat and the wildfires. And this is the Australian government is directly attributing to climate change, that we need to transition our global energy systems to clean and cleaner sources of energy. And people around the world, entrepreneurs, are taking advantage of it, whether they be in the US, whether they be in China, Korea, Japan. And our report looks at it from a Canadian perspective. What are our entrepreneurs doing? How are they competing? What policy tools do we need to aid them so we can take a 1% market share in a $1 trillion economy and grow it in what is going to be a $3 trillion economy by 2020? That's where the puck is going. That's where the puck is going. And our Prime Minister might now, he doesn't call us a clean energy superpower anymore. He calls us a natural resources powerhouse. And that's where the puck is. And that's great. And we might be able to develop, or through his government, accelerate the development of natural resources, particularly in Western Canada, and take advantage of that now. But we've got a whole bunch of people with the eye on where the puck is going. And in this report, we talked to 22 of the best and brightest CEOs, executives, investors, who told us what we need to do. And some of them are in the room tonight. You know, you take Dan Balaban. Dan Balaban at Green Gate Power. There's Dan. Yeah, stand up. Take a bow, Dan. Alberta's wind energy cowboy. Developed a 150 megawatt wind farm, packaged it, sold it on the back of clean energy credits. It came from where? In Canada? Where did they come from, Dan? California. California. He had to go to California to get the slice that he needed to make his package attractive. Nick Parker is in the report, the guy who coined the term clean tech and calls it a race, as it adequately is, both against climate change and to capture market share. Don Farrell, the CEO of TransAlta, who was a carbon trader back in the early days of the North American market. And at TransAlta manages some of the largest coal assets we have in the country, but whose growth strategy is based on wind and combined cycle natural gas, and says, listen, we need a carbon price. It's just the most efficient way to deal with the climate problem. And as an aside, you get people, and all our entrepreneurs told us this is what we need, a carbon price. But right now, to show how we need mature voices, we've got our Minister of Foreign Affairs right now who says that a carbon tax is killing and hurting Canadian families. That's a quote, killing and hurting Canadian families. Like it's Dr. Evil's death ray, you know? Boom, my carbon tax, and Dr. Evil, pay me $1 million or I'll implement the carbon tax, you know? This is not an instrument of destruction, this is a pricing mechanism. It's what we need. So Pembina gets excited about clean energy because we sense the opportunity to both make money and tackle climate change. You know, another project, and I'll let the video speak for itself, is our Green Energy Futures project. It's been led by David Dodge, the man behind the camera there. When I first joined Pembina, I thought it was the coolest thing that the voice of the great radio program, the Eco-File, was working at Pembina, and I'd have the chance to work with this guy. And he has put together with his team already 26 terrific episodes that highlight the amazing work that Canadian entrepreneurs are doing to promote clean energy solutions. So let's watch a little bit of a commercial for Green Energy Futures right now.
From wind energy cowboys like Dan Balaban to the Premier of Nova Scotia, we seek out the people who are leading the way to a green energy future. From solar projects in Ontario to the tidal energy of the Bay of Fundy and run-of-river projects in British Columbia, we go across this country to bring you positive, uplifting stories about people working on green energy projects in their homes, businesses, and communities. I'm David Dodge. Join us every week on Green Energy Futures.
Thank you to Suncor, TD, and Shell, our current sponsors. We're at 26 episodes. We want to get up to 80 episodes because these are the projects that mainstream media isn't covering now, and that we want to get out there. And Dave and his Crackerjack team go out and they seek them. And all I can say is the Run-of-River show with that guy who was just barreling down and looked like some toboggan with a crash helmet on. Dave, I want you to rerun that episode. I want to be in that. That just looked wild. Okay, if you're interested, talk to Dave, talk to Davika Shaw, our Director of Strategic Partnerships. I know we're all hungry. I know we want to tuck into that Alberta beef. I just have a few thanks I want to offer. First, to our co-presenting sponsors, Shell Canada and Scotiabank. Thank you. Thank you. Without your support, this couldn't have happened. To our gold sponsor, Suncor, over there, the Suncor team, give a yahoo if you want with your hats. Suncor, we've had a long and interesting and woolly relationship with. We appreciate it. Our silver sponsors, TD and RBC. Our bronze sponsors, Cenovus, Cement Association in Canada, and Green Gate Power. Without all of your combined support, we would never have been able to pull off this kind of great coming out party in Toronto. So I'm very grateful for your support. On behalf of Pembina, I want to thank our advisory committee, Ken Ogilvie, Nelson Switzer, Eric Bainan, Jane Kearns, John Coyne, Michael Adams, Tom Rand, David Runnels, Nick Parker, Laurie Simmons, and the one and only Mark Rudolph. It was terrific. Thank you for your sage advice. A special shout out to Laurie Simmons and her team. I was blown away by the videos that I saw tonight. I did not expect that. It really feels like we've landed. We've been here 8 years, but now we're opening our doors, opening our kimono, putting our white hats on, and you've really given us a warm welcome. Thank you, Laurie. Davika Shaw. Where are you, Davika, our Director of Strategic Partnerships? Listen, someone's pointing her out. Davika's got a black hat on. I noticed Michelle, actually, you got a black hat on too. Ooh, very, very suggestive. Thank you for all you've done. You put more blood, sweat, and tears into this project than anyone at Pembina. It's a success on the back of your effort. Thank you. And I want to turn, let's give Davika a round of applause. One last one, Mark Rudolph. For all your efforts, for your constant support throughout the years, for teaching me how to say the word chutzpah. I used to say chutzpah, and then Mark took me aside. He says, it's chutzpah, not chutzpah. And if you say chutzpah, you sound like a schmuck. So thank you, Mark, for teaching me how to say chutzpah. And you've got your man purse. You've got your fine wines. It's a purse, yeah. I didn't call it a merce. I've been corrected. But we want to make you an honorary Pembinista. We want to make you a tree hugger and get you out from behind your wines and your purse. And to do that, we have a little gift for you. A good old backpack. And if you want, you can actually put your purse in here and your bottle of wine and navigate Toronto that way. So Mark, thank you so much. This is for you. And may we all have Mark Rudolph's chutzpah as we go about our work. And lastly, thank you to all of you. I hope you enjoy yourselves. I hope this is the beginning of a long and collaborative relationship with all of you. Listen, Pembina spans east and west. We need that if we're going to lead Canada's transition to a clean energy future. I hope you get a sense of Pembina's secret sauce tonight. I hope you enjoy the dinner. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.
Let's give Ed a big hand. Well done, Ed.